Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and how does this keep happening? How does this keep happening at Hearthstone, where neutral legendaries are so unbelievably powerful that lately it feels like every expansion, every content drop, one is getting to be where Yogg Saron is right now. It is in nearly 60% of all decks at Hearthstone. Astalor not far behind at 50%. And I just want to talk about the recent phenomenon that we have seen in the game where neutral legendaries seem to be more meta-defining, more impactful than like the most powerful class legendaries ever, including cards like Sargeras and things like that. It's crazy. We'll go into it. It's been going on for a while, and what else has been going on for a while, but not much longer, is our giveaway for that BlizzCon legendary pack. $65 Canadian worth of value. All you have to do to enter the giveaway, I'm giving one away, is like a comment in the video description below. Be subscribed to the channel. I will announce that winner tomorrow, unless we hit 700 subs. By that time, I'll add another one, but yeah, probably the one winner, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, the numbers on H's replay right now are crazy. It keeps going up. So I've been on the last 3 days, nearly 60% of decks Yogg Saron. If you go last one day, it's 58%, but you can see it keeps going up, right? Over the past week, it was at 56.5. The last 2 weeks, well, Yogg, I don't even know if it's been in the game for 2 weeks, 47.5%. But we all know this is not the first neutral legendary to really skyrocket, and there is a long laundry list of neutral cards that have been nearing 60%, around that mark, and have been nerfed, or in the case of Astalor, are still sticking around there, although it has been nerfed too. But I just want to go over it because it is a very startling recent trend. You, of course, have Yogg, which it's going to get nerfed. Like, there's no way around it, whether it's the next patch or, I mean, 0.6, it's probably not happening because that's like the expansion announcement. They usually don't have balance changes in there, but it should be coming soon. But looking in standard alone right now, Ignis is another card. You saw that, like 40% of decks, which is, these numbers you normally never really saw. Examples in the past of like neutral legendaries that saw that much play are far and few between. Ziliax was one. I believe it was in that 60% threshold. Never got nerfed. Hell, it wasn't even that complained about. It was just a really good card. Of course, Baku and Gen, which both got Hall of Famed a year early because they were so insane. We didn't really have these numbers back then, but I would think a card like Dr. Boom was probably in a lot of decks. Maybe a Blood Mage Thalnos, maybe a Ragnaros, Sylvanas. Those two got Hall of Famed as well, but we've never seen it at this consistent level where these neutral legendaries seem to be like just more game defining than class legendaries. Like Ignis in itself, that 10 mana Wind Fury option can just win games by itself, but that's not the only example we have in standard right now. I mean, just think about the past year or so. We had Thaddeus, which was pretty ridiculous. This card ended up getting nerfed. It was just created mass mana cheat like no other card really has done to that extent, except maybe Kael'thas, which was another neutral that kind of broke the game. More recent though, Sire Denathrius was another one of those cards last summer that was in like 60% of decks, had to get nerfed, so it took twice as long to infuse, and now you basically never see it. The Jailer, again, another very recent example, which is literally unplayable as it's been temporarily banned from Standard and Wild. And we're just looking at 10 mana options, right? Neptulon was kind of gross and wild, but there is still a ton more to go over. Theotar was like basically in every deck at 4 mana. It went to 5 and 6. And again, the power level of this card, just being able to snatch a combo piece or a card out of your opponent's hand for relatively dirt cheap, was yeah, it made all of us mad, not just the Mad Duke. Ironically, we do have Ziliax in standard and it sees like almost no play, a former 60% style card. Pozic was another one that was just like auto include in, I don't know, any mid-range deck, any aggro deck, control decks. I remember Relic Demon Hunter running this. It really didn't have synergy, but you just played it because it was absurd. It's still pretty good. There's more options now that we have more sets, but still went from that 4-4 to 5-4. And again, we're not even done with this year yet. It's Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna get emotional talking about Prince Renethal was also nearing like 50-60% at the same time as Sire Denathrius, and it gave you 40 health. They nerfed Denathrius, its numbers went way down, but it wasn't good enough. And yeah, Renethal was another one that was super meta defining, was all over the place, still sees like, I think 10 to 15% of play. But again, we're still not done with the last one, again, being Astalor in nearly, like right now, nearly 50% of decks. It's been nerfed once. Mana Thirst changes have been hit in there. Damage has been downscaled. It is just crazy to think how many of these legendaries from neutrals are being nerfed. And you compare it to class legendaries, how many have really been nerfed in that same period of time? There's not a ton. You had Nelly for Warrior, Necrolord Draka for Rogue got scaled back to 4 because the damage output of it was just, yeah, a little bit disgusting, and I don't think too many people complained. Ironically, more class legendaries have been buffed than anything. Like, you just take a look at Rogue with Blingtron, Rhythm Dancer Rizza, Blackwater Behemoth, and you take a look how many of these cards have been nerfed. High Cultist Basilisk was nerfed after it was buffed to 4 mana. It started at 5, so does that even really count? Priestess Valish could probably go back to 0 mana. Radiant Elemental was the reason this card got nerfed in the first place. And well, yeah, it's still at 1 for some reason. Or new class legendaries got buffed. The Countess, Tyrion of all things lately. Tyr, which again, still does he play? I can't believe that stat bomb at 6 is still not good enough. But you can see what I'm getting at, right? The class legendaries don't even seem to be at the power level of the neutral legendaries. Like, what is going on with this? Although I imagine one day Sith probably does change. Although, don't change the artwork. There'll be riots over that. Is this just recency bias? And I decided, let's take a look at some of the sets that preceded the current standard rotation. And starting at Alterac Valley, this is the most recent expansion put to wild. We did see Drekthar, which was pretty darn impactful, and Kazakhstan getting nerfed, but overall, just powerful cards, not nearly as meta defining. You could say a raid boss in Nixia was up there. Stormwind, the only real standout is Mr. Smite, which is really the warrior quest that came down to like making that, you know, kind of ridiculous. For Forge of the Barons, the only one I could think of is Mankrik. Wife, which summoned Mankrik, the consumed by Hatred, had 10 health, was a little bit too insane. But overall, again, you take a look at the stuff, nothing really got hit, nothing too crazy and meta defining. And we go back even farther, the Dark Moon Fair, you had all the old gods. The only thing that ever happened was N'Zoth got buffed. These are supposed to be the meta defining, like, these are the old gods. That's really what's supposed to drive all the cards and all that, and it still wasn't at that level. And we'll go back just a couple more, like Skullman's Academy. Yeah, Lorekeeper Polkout got adjusted, but overall, again, nothing too egregious. And we'll just finish off with Ashes of Outland, where Kael'thas was utterly broken for sure. But the rest, I mean, I did get Maev a 5-star and said you absolutely must craft this day 1. It must have been insane, right? Oh boy, should we do some Zeddy bad reviews tomorrow? We might do that. We haven't done that for the latest set yet. So you can see, just comparison to like the last year of expansions before this one, we have seen an uptick lately in neutral legendaries that is unmatched in power level. We've never seen anything like that, and it's consistent. Every expansion lately has been pushing the power level so hard on these neutral legendaries that you can almost create a win condition on itself around them, like in Ignis. ETC has had shenanigans even, where that's in a ton of decks, but definitely not nerf capable. It is just, you can definitely see the power level increasing, and basically the breaking the rules a little bit of these cards kind of doing stuff you would expect to see from like some one-off class legendary is now just available to everyone. And when you make these type of cards available to every class, it inevitably will become pretty darn broken and lead to moments where Thaddeus has to get nerfed, where the jailer has to get banned. And the worst part about it, at least right now, with Yogg, we have to wait for that next balance patch, or we have to, you know, kind of endure his madness on ladder, which at least for me has been keeping me in the arena and duels a lot more than I have been, at least in recent times. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think of this like uptick in power level, in particular with neutral legendaries, and how defining it seems to be, is it something you like, or should this power level of card be more reserved to class legendaries like a Sargeras that's crazy and busted, but only available for Warlock and can be designed specifically around that? Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.